discriminating against someone because they're disabled in an unlawful way, that doesn't mean you hire someone simply because they are disabled. It's outrageous. It's unlawful. So we still have the emergency of the failing Secret Service putting President Trump at risk, I think in a continued fashion. It's been highlighted time and time again how incompetent, political they've been. And the proof is the pudding of the president nearly being killed in Butler. And now we're having stories about really additional stories, and Judicial Watch has been highlighting some of these in the past as well, of really the collapse of any sense of competency or organizational professionalism in the Secret Service. And some of this, Americans and other critics of the agency have rightly tied to DEI. And I mean, there's something amiss in the Secret Service that some of the situations we're talking about here are seemingly happening on a regular basis. And I remind you of what we discussed last week here.
Incredible. Nearly a month to the day after they nearly got him killed, there's been another Secret Service security breakdown surrounding President Trump. Susan Crabtree of Real Clear Investigations reported a female agent left her post at a Trump event just before he got there, didn't tell anyone to go breastfeed her child. And she brought her family back behind the security perimeter with her without pushing them through and having the Secret Service and other security vet them. Incredible breakdown in security, again, by the Biden-Harris Secret Service. They're going to get Trump killed unless this issue is treated like the emergency it is. Now, in the meantime, Judicial Watch is seeking and demanding answers from the Secret Service and the FBI. Of course, we're getting the stonewalls on records about the assassination attempt, but Judicial Watch is prepared to go to court to get the full truth about this crisis.
Yeah, and I expect there'll be news about that pretty soon. But in the meantime, we already have been in court trying to get records about the crisis. And you may recall we talked about how there was a Secret Service agent who, according to reports, went crazy, who was on Kamala Harris's detail and had to be wrestled to the ground and handcuffed after she got into an altercation with one of her colleagues. I think it was at Andrews Air Force Base. Susan Crabtree, I think, exposed it first. The agents involved in restraining the woman were especially concerned because she still had her gun in her holster. They wrestled her to the ground, took the gun from her, cuffed her, and then removed her from the terminal. The report states Secret Service agents and officers are privately questioning the hiring process and whether the agency had adequately screened the woman's background. And so we asked for records about that incident. And we got their DEI materials in response, and they are astonishing. I mean, you think DEI is bad? I mean, it is the guiding, organizing principle of the Secret Service, according to these documents. From the headline, Secret Service records reveal DEI is prioritized for all agency employees in every action, every day. Do I need to say anything else? The records include an undated document titled Secret Service Inclusion and Engagement Council Charter, Changing the Game of Diversity and Inclusion. The collective duty, collective, I love it, is to help the Secret Service build, foster, and create and inspire a workforce where diversity and inclusion is not just talked about, but demonstrated by all employees through every action every day. And they emphasize that in the original. The Council will not rely solely on the legal requirements underscoring the principles of EEO, which essentially are non-discrimination, right? You can't discriminate. No one's in favor of discrimination. But here we're talking about discrimination in favor of certain groups under the guise of being against discrimination. Orwellian, isn't it? The Council will seek innovative solutions outside the agency's mandated requirements to create a culture where differences are valued and appreciated and employee engagement is encouraged. To be an employer of choice and gold standard for leveraging inclusive diversity by modeling the qualities of mutual respect, admiration, and appreciation for cultural differences and varying perspectives. What cultural differences are they talking about? What they're trying to do is highlight and promote racial and cultural and ethnic division in the agency. That's what the left is trying to do here. This is what it's about. They talk about a quota for individuals with physical and mental disabilities. A quota, 12% hiring. This is a protective agency. It's a law enforcement agency. There's no discussion, as best I can tell here, that the actual job, people should be picked on merit and whether they can do the job. Here, they're clearly placing the requirements of the job secondary to the characteristics of the personnel who are being hired. Now, if the job doesn't require someone to be fully abled, sure. But that's when they're talking about the entire workforce, that means something has to give. Disability set-asides, they don't have unlimited budgets. They don't have unlimited numbers of employees they can then hire. The policy of the Secret Service is to provide equal employment opportunity throughout the service for all employees, etc., who are otherwise eligible and qualified. So there's that normalcy there. Without regard for such non-merit factors as race, color, religion, sex, national origin, disability, physical or mental, parental status, protected genetic information, sexual orientation, age, or reprisal for objecting to discrimination or prior or current participation in the EEO complaint process. So it's a much broader standard than the standard anti-discrimination requirements. And the policy applies to virtually the entire agency. Appointments, details, career development, training, reassignments, promotions, and assignments of work, and to other actions or situations affecting employment status. And then they talk about special emphasis programs that further are designed to distract the agency from performing its duties as the American taxpayer and their protectees expect them, and focus on race and other issues. They're designed to assist the organization in meeting its affirmative action responsibilities. Special emphasis programs are affirmative action programs established to increase the representation, retention, and advancement of their constituent groups in underrepresented occupations and grades. Special emphasis programs are also charged with promoting cultural awareness. What does that mean? What culture? Isn't there an American culture? Can't we focus on that? Identifying policies, procedures, and practices affecting their groups and advising management on actions which may increase in participation of minorities, women, and persons with disabilities in all Secret Service programs and activities. And they've got special emphasis programs for federal women, Hispanic employment, African American, Asian Pacific Islander, persons with disabilities, disabled veterans, and American Indian Alaskan Native. And it goes on and on. The diversity management program has been established in the Secret Service as a means of achieving an organization culture that values diversity and utilizes employees to their fullest potential. So what they mean is that we are more concerned about someone's racial, ethnic, and other characteristics than anything else. That's what it means. Think of the culture, the employment culture, where that's a priority. The resentment among every employee over that type of system must be terrible and awful. Minorities, whoever, both the beneficiaries and seemingly those who don't benefit from these types of programs. The resentment just causes all sorts of dissension, and it's a distraction. Government agencies, they should have non-discrimination policies. And that should be the end of it. Quotas? 12% of the population workforce has to be disabled? Why? How does that help them accomplish the mission? Discriminating against someone because they're disabled in an unlawful way, that doesn't mean you hire someone simply because they are disabled. It's outrageous. It's unlawful. Or at least it ought to be unlawful if the law is fairly and properly interpreted and applied. These documents show that the Secret Service for years has seemed to place woke politics over their protective and law enforcement mission in, as their DEI policy states, every action, every day. And I want to show you the documents here. So this is DEI world for Secret Service. One agency. And this isn't the full raft of documents we're supposed to be getting. But I want to draw attention to this training module of some type that was produced to us in the documents. And I want to show you just the sort of fear and resentment and divisiveness and targeting of dissent based on race and politics and ideology that these DEI initiatives foster. Here they've got, this is the training programs, right? And they go through examples. And this is the anti-harassment example. Essentially, it sketches out a scenario where two people, Jana and Trent, are DHS employees, Department of Homeland Security, which runs the Secret Service, or is the overseeing organization of it, of the same component. So they work together. They've been working together for 10 years, and Jana stopped by to talk with Trent at his desk about a project they were working on. Rita, another co-worker who's been in the component for about a year, was also at his desk. Trent, you all got that email, right? We have to complete the racial awareness training by Friday. I better write that down so I don't forget. Jana, yeah, I think it says it will take about 2 hours. I started it this morning. Rita, Rita commits to sin here. Yeah, I saw that email. It seems unnecessary to me. I guess it's mandatory, so I have to do it. Uh-oh. Jana feels uncomfortable with Rita's statement. It sounded like she was brushing off the racial awareness training. She doesn't know Rita well. In fact, she hasn't even talked to her before. She doesn't feel comfortable saying something to her about her comment, decides to go back to her desk. Let's go to the next page. Then Rita says, Rita lowering her voice, we shouldn't be required to take that training. It's just because of cancel culture and the need to be so sensitive and politically correct these days. I mean, I don't even see color, I see people. Another sin. This is what the government says this is wrong to say. And this person, in the end, should be punished for it. Spoiler alert. Narrator. Later, Jana is scrolling through social media and sees a post from Rita. So Rita is exercising her First Amendment rights. Bad news. With a fact about crime in the city. Says, what about black on black crime? No one seems to care about that. Instead, they make us take racial awareness training. Let's focus on the problems with solutions. That's a thought crime. Indeed, Jana to herself. This is a government script. They're telling their employees how to think about people who think like poor Rita. Does she really feel that way? She has made other comments that I thought were just insensitive, so now I'm not so sure. Uh-oh. So they want her to escalate it. Jana isn't sure she should do anything about her comments. And then they give questions. Which three of the following are the signs of racial discrimination? So Rita is being accused of racial discrimination, and they say for the following three. Insensitive comments, Rita's complaints about taking the training of racial awareness, and her social media post. The government wants to investigate this federal employee for that. Rita's posts on social media were derogatory and included stereotypes that link race and crime. Rita's comments complaining about racial awareness training and her other insensitive comments are possible signs of discrimination. No, they're not. This is the Secret Service and also the Department. And it's even worse than the Secret Service, guys. It's the Department of Homeland Security. Don't presume this is just limited to the Secret Service. The whole agency, Homeland Security. This is the claptrap they're forcing the employees to sit through. And it goes on. Poor Rita. But they describe all of Jana's options. Jana goes to the supervisor. Should she go to AHU or EEO, the internal watchdogs, for issues like this? And then Rita dares to complain to Jana about it, saying you're a baby. Let's go down. Let's go down. Again, Rita, I'll make sure not to talk about anything when you're around, since you're going to run straight to my boss, or Ronald. And I'll also block you on social media so you don't see my posts on him anymore. So they target this woman. She complains, reacts, another sin. But look, they got their chart. They've got the chart showing what the punishments that Rita should be forced to go through for complaining about work and making free speech protected comments. And then they go through the complaint process that Jana ends up filing in this worksheet. So let's come back. Secret Service is trying through this DEI program trying to destroy the agency. And you wonder why they can't get their act together to protect President Trump. You wonder why agents feel like they can leave their posts. You wonder why they are hiring agents that end up going, according to the reports, virtually insane, attacking their own colleagues. So, yeah, it's an emergency, folks, and Judicial Watch has uncovered the truth about it through our FOIA litigation. I mean, we've exposed how Biden let his dogs attack the Secret Service 25 times. Nothing was done. Agency abandoned them. The agents, other than telling them to shut up about it. So they get abused. No one backs them up. And they're further victimized through these DEI programs that encourage racial division, strife, hatred, division, discord, complaints over nothing. So look at the documents, because it's 300 pages. I can't go through everything that's outrageous in here. Trust me. It's worth going through. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.